Jax, you are a very smart puppy. You are a testament to the Beagle race. This is Jax, and this is his roadmap to success. Now, Jax is in our puppy socialization, our 201 class, and so he's already learned a lot of great lessons. In this one, we went over really, this is kind of what we do in our puppy classes and what we do for our in-home puppy sessions. We really focus on trying to prevent problem behaviors before they really start. Now, he's close to a year, correct? Mm-hmm. So he's a little bit older, but the great thing about puppies is and all dogs is they live in the now. So basically, I think that he was a little bit confused as his position. As you can see, he's very climby and he doesn't show a lot of respect for personal space. And a big part of that is because every time he does that, his guardian reached over and petted him. Remember, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're reinforcing and enhancing. Now, this also includes unbalanced states of mind. I see a lot of people, their dog is excited when they come home and jumping up and they pet them. Well, the more we pet their dogs for doing that, the more excited we're going to make them. After a while, dogs sometimes get excited urination, sometimes they nip, they run out the door, they just lose control when they're just overexcited. Just like humans, it's not a good idea for us to make a decision when we're emotionally distraught. We're going to probably say the wrong thing or things along those lines. For dogs, if they're emotionally worked up, it's not a good time for them. So if my dog is fearful and I pet it, I'm going to make it more fearful. Scared, nervous, anxious, again, excited. And excited is not necessarily happy. So one of the things I went over with the guardian is stopping petting the dog anytime it starts doing something we don't like. And I think the guardian probably pets him a little, I don't want to say too much. I hate saying that anybody pets their dog too much because really it's not possible. But the context of what the dog is doing when we pet him is important. So if the dog is jumping up and I pet the dog, I'm rewarding the dog and I'm teaching the dog the way to get attention from me is to jump up on me. So instead what I want the guardian to start doing is petting with a purpose. Petting with a purpose is basically asking the dog to do something first before you pet it, especially when it demands attention. Jax. There we go. So if Jax is nudging me and I pet him, I'm rewarding that. So instead what I'm going to do is Jax, sit, sit. So I'm just going to say the word sit after I'm going to ask him to do something I want first. Careful, your fingers, I'm pretty sure, is getting in the way. There you go. And so sit. This is passive training. I'll talk about this in a sec. So if he demands something from me and tells me what to do and I do it, that tells him he's in charge of me, and that can lead to a lot of confusion into leader-follower dynamics. What I do instead is I give him, when he tells me what to do, nothing happens. I give him a counter order. Actually, something does happen. So I give him the counter order. As soon as he does the counter order, then I reach over and pet him. And I say whatever he's doing. If he's sitting, I pet him and say sit. If he laid down, I pet him and say lay down. Whatever I've directed him to do. Not good sit, just sit. Sit. And this is passive training, which we're going to talk about next. So after a while, the dog will learn, I can't tell the humans what to do. When I tell them what to do, nothing happens. But if they tell me what to do and I do it, they pay me. They reward me. So it's good to listen to the humans. And after a while, what will happen is the dog will start sitting in front of the human to prepay for the attention. I'm sitting to ask for attention. Can you pat me behind this ear? Sure, make sure we do. Otherwise, the dog will go back to jumping and pawing at us. He really demands attention by putting his paws on the human, which tells me that the human pets him when he does this. So it's going to be really important for the human to stop petting him when he jumps up. Now he's a Beagle and he's getting in a little bit of trouble right now jumping up, and that we should interpret that as the dog needs more exercise. He really enjoyed chasing the laser. For some dogs, they can chase the laser, it's healthy. Other dogs, it's manic, it's not healthy. He was fine with it. So what the guardian might want to do is get a laser, and every time he starts jumping up or getting a nuisance, we do a little bit of a lap. We stand here and run the laser back, forth, and create a circuit, and then count the number of circuits. One of the things I told the guardian she might want to do, she gets him better exercise than most of my clients. He has a dog walker too. But is to start an exercise journal. Write down the time that you exercised him and the number of rotations of the circuit, the number of fetches, the length of the walk, whatever it is. Also, write down the times that he misbehaves. He was trying to get in the counter, he was countersurfing, he was doing this, he was doing that. Write those times down as well. The idea is after doing this for a couple weeks to a month or so, you can start looking through it and seeing, oh, every time I don't exercise him within 3 hours, he starts countersurfing or jumping up or doing these things that we don't like. So now I know I need to exercise him. I'm going to start exercising before he gets into trouble. Now we're helping the dog manage its behavior or its energy level. And dogs have depleted their energy a lot easier to deal with. Exercising your dog is not going to fix your dog's problems, but it's going to make it a lot easier to do so. So start the exercise journal, write those details down. At the end of each day, grade the day, A, B, C, D, or F. And then if he got his C, the next day give him maybe one more fetching. And also exercise earlier in the day is more effective than later in the day. And then eventually you'll find a combination where, wow, that was like an A+ day. This is the exercise routine I'm going to get him on a regular basis. Excellent. Guardian's getting him down from climbing up on the chair. Okay, so we also went over, passive training, which is what I was showing you there. So passive training is just simply rewarding the dog anytime it does something on its own that is a desired behavior. So if the Jax were to come over to me, I would reach over and pet him and say the word come, as long as he doesn't jump up on me. So every time he comes to me, if he hears the word come and he suddenly starts getting attention, or if every time he sits down, I start petting him and say sit, or every time he lays down, I pet him and say down. Now, his guardian said he doesn't lay down very much. He's kind of a higher energy, and he's a puppy. He's a Beagle. So when he does lay down, right here, if I reach over and pet him and say crash, whatever the word is that I want to associate, not caveman talk. A lot of us, good, bad, go, do. We use 2-word commands. Go, good potty. Go, food. Off couch, and dogs don't understand that. What we want to use is a 1-word command. Sit. So that's passive training. He sat on his own. I didn't ask him to, but the end result is still what I'm looking for, and I'm rewarding him for doing a desired action and behavior. Most of us train our dogs to misbehave. That's when they get our attention. They steal something, we pet them. Or we go chase them, They jump up on us, we pet them. Or we shrug them off. They scratch at something, we yell at them. Good attention from us and bad attention from us is the same thing. So if you are always correcting your dog, you're teaching your dog to misbehave. The better thing to do is put your dog in positions or situations where we can control the environment and they can only do the thing that we want, and then we reward them. We do that over and over and over again. Eventually they become into a habit and the dog continues doing those things. And again, by petting and recognizing the dog when it does desired actions and behaviors, that's what the dog is going to start doing to ask for attention. Now, to make sure we have a healthy leader-follower dynamic, I also went over the importance of rules and structure. A lot of us like to give our puppy the whole role of the house, let them be on the furniture and jump up on us and do anything they want. Just like a human child that gets everything it wants, it eventually becomes petulant and spoiled and not the most fun to be around. What's cute at this size is a puppy is not so cute at this size, and the Guardian's starting to come to their realization. He's a great dog. He's not chewing and doing a lot of things, but he's doing some things that are frustrating. So the more that we enforce rules, the more the dog sees us acting like a leader. Dogs are all about they see us do. When we go to work, they don't see us working, so we don't get credit for that in the dog's eyes. So the more we enforce rules consistently and dispassionately, the more the dog sees us acting like in that leader role. So if one of the rules I suggested was not allow the dog in the furniture, because for the dogs, the higher they sit or stand, the more rank or status they have. He likes to hang out up here, so he has more authority than his humans. But even here says we're peers, here says I have more authority. I look down at the humans. So one of the first rules is no furniture for at least 30 days or as long as the problem is going on. At the end of that period of time, furniture with an invitation, but only for good behavior. So if I invite him up and he starts barking, he has to get down. Or if I invite him up and he gets down to go to drink water, when he comes back, he needs another invitation to get back up here. And certainly not up here at all. Now, potty training, I think the Guardian kind of confused him a little bit, the word potty and going outside. Because she said, I think he might have to potty. She got up and walked to the door and she said, you want to go outside? So a lot of people do this and it confused the two things. So for the dog, do we get that? Is I going to stop?
Yes,
Okay. Well, let's just, I'll tell you what. Just pan it towards me.
And just ignore it.
You want to turn it off? Or? There you go. So let's face me with the camera. There we go. All right, perfect. All right. So for potty training, dogs learn through association. Careful of our finger. Try to hold it on the other side instead. So basically, if I take the dog outside and go to the door and I say, you want to potty? Or a lot of words, it's hard for dogs to understand. So we want to use just one word. So to associate potty, what I would do is take the dog outside, and when it starts to pee or poop, within 3 seconds, within 3 seconds, say the word business or potty or whatever it is. And then after he gets done, within 3 seconds of him finishing, pop the treat in his mouth and say the command word again. And say it in the same inflection. A lot of us say, during the command stage, we say, sit. And when he sits, we say, sit. To dogs, those are completely different command words. So say it the same way each time. So after a while, if you do that consistently, then if you tell the dog, potty, and he goes like this, that's a yes. If you say potty, he just kind of looks at you casually and you don't get a lot of emotion, that's a no. Now, I promised the Guardian I would teach her how to teach the dog to ring a bell. So once you've done that with teaching the dog potty, and I know that she's already has the word potty, but it'll be more helpful if you go out for a week and say it every time the dog potties whenever possible. It's supposed to be actually a nice week this week. So the next step is to get a jingle bell. You can't find regular bells. Okay, so the Guardian has some. Now the biggest mistake that most people make when they try to teach their dog to ring a bell to go outside to potty is they hang it from the door. Dogs learn through association. So the idea is when the dog goes outside, you have the jingle bell clamped in your hand so it's not making any sounds. As soon as it starts to pee or poop, you gently start to ring it. Jingle, 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 jingle. When it stops, you clamp it again. Then you pull out your treat and you pop the treat in the dog's mouth and then you start jingling it again. So now the jingle is linked to the action of elimination, and it's also linked to having the tasty treat in my mouth. Now the big mistake that most people make is they hang the bell from the door. Every time the door opens, it makes the jingle sound. So to the dog, jingle means go outside, not potty. So you hang the bell next to the door. Now, I do this usually for about a week. I go out every potty break and I jingle the bell while they're peeing or pooping. Same thing for both of them. And don't go drrr. Keep it pretty light. And after I do that for a week, and again, the treat right afterwards. And they're jingling while they get the treat too. After a week, then what I do is I hang it from the side. So the first week is not even at the door. So the second week I hang it next to this door, but not on the door. And then what I usually do is I take a toothpick and some peanut butter. I dab one end of the toothpick and I get a good gob of peanut butter. Then I dip the other one, I get just a tiny bit. And I go touch the tiny bit to the bell. And then I let the dog lick the peanut butter off the other end. Once they lick it off, then they'll smell it on the bell. But if you do too much on the bell, they'll just want to be interested in the bell. When you lick and it's gone and it makes the jingle sound. As soon as the jingle sound happens, you open the door and let the dog go outside. I would still follow up for that second week with another jingle. And as soon as another bell, as soon as the dog starts peeing or pooping, we jingle it the same way I described above. This is really helpful because he goes over and he scratches at the door. And the Guardian just spent a lot of time and money and effort refixing your door. She doesn't want to have that happen. Now, one of the things, if we have a dog that scratches at the door, if we look at the dog when it's scratching, it's validating to the dog. It's going to make it do it more. So I found that if you go get a piece of plexiglass, you can actually get some 3M Velcro tape, put half of it on the plexiglass, half of it on your door, and you can adhere the plexiglass to the door. And if the dog scratches the plexiglass, you don't care if it scratches it. It protects your wood, and then you can remove it easily. Come. Passive training. And then you can do it on both sides if you need to, but eventually then the dog learns that my scratching at the door doesn't help. One of the rules we went over is the dog has to sit at the door, which he kind of does. But I go to the door and I tell him to sit. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds, I walk away and turn the TV on and do something while you're seated. And give yourself 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, go back to the door and tell him again, sit. If he doesn't sit this time within 3 seconds, I walk away for 2 minutes. Next time we'll walk away for 4 minutes, then 8 minutes. I keep doubling it each time. And as soon as he sits down, I open that door. And so he understands that sitting down at the door is my way of going outside. As you notice, I do a lot of stuff revolving around sitting. Sitting for passive training, sitting for petting with a purpose. But sitting is one of the easiest things dogs can do, and it's really helpful if you utilize it. All right, so let me see. We went over the tips for countersurfing in the video above. If it doesn't work for him, make sure you call me or text me because there's another step that we can go to make it more intense. But based on how sensitive he is to sound, I'm pretty sure that's going to do the trick. Do it in different places, and within a week or two, he probably won't go anywhere near stuff that's on the counter. Countersurfing is tough because it's a self-rewarding behavior. Every time the dog jumps up and gets a piece of pizza, well, it was good pizza, so I'm going to continue doing that. Well, if I jump up and something negative happens every time, I'm going to stop doing that. Okay, let me see. I'd like to see the Guardian sign him up for our 301 class because we continue the socialization, which will be helpful for him, but we also go over loose leash walking. If you want to do that, make sure you let Adam know soon because we run out of space. That's a small class. We keep it small intentionally because it's more advanced. We want to give you more attention. Let me see what else. The door, when I first came in, he likes to jump up. Now, what I'd like the Guardian to do is to go through her phone and find people, neighbors and family friends and relatives and people you haven't seen in a while and invite them to come over. Get a bottle of wine. I saw some nice wine, some cheese or whatever it is. But when you come in, you get to use that leash exercise that I showed you off camera about how to stop dogs from jumping up, excuse me. Now, if you forget how to do that, make sure you message me. I have a whole bunch of videos on my website where I can where I can show you how to do that, but it's pretty simple, and I think the Guardian gets it, because the great thing about it is you're literally doing nothing except for waiting for the dog to do what it wants. And once it does, you reward it. When it stops doing that, you ignore it. I'd like the guardian to make sure she's feeding the dog first, and she probably would be well served to get one of the treat dispensing toys that we sell at our class and feed the dog out of its toys. That makes the toys a little bit more something they're more interested in because they pay off. It also slows down the eating process. And it helps the dog's problem solving. Now I'm also going to go over. He's a mouther and he nips a little bit. And so what we'd like to do is have games like this where we kind of have tug toys and we're teasing him a little bit. Anytime his teeth touch me, I'm going to yelp. That was not a very good yelp. Usually it's more like a and you saw he ran away and he froze. When two dogs are playing, that's what they'll do. And then after a freeze, we can go back to playing again. And what we're teaching him is good, what we call bite inhibition. That the humans are weak. Anytime you touch the human with your teeth, they just yelp and cry like a baby and stop playing with you. And then we go back to it. So the first way we do it is doing that. Stay right there. I'm going to grab something and I'll come back. All right, the second thing I like to do is have a nylabone or an antler like this in my pocket at all times. So if I pull out something like that for him to play with, and this is a good teaching him this. But sometimes they're just coming and gnawing on you. I want you, I don't want that. Well, what I do then is I pull something like this out and I tease him with it. I want him to try to get it. Don't just hand it to him. If you hand it to him, they won't be interested. So what I do is I tease it, and then I'll let him get it, and then I let him pull it away from me. And then we redirected him into something that's appropriate to chew on. A lot of times they take this off the side and they go chew it. Now, immediately pick up another antler or nylabone and put it in your back pocket so you always have one on you at all times. Now, the last little thing I have about biting and nipping, dogs sleep a lot. When they're overtired, often they get very mouthy and nippy. So if you yelp and the dog gets more aggressive about biting and nipping you, or you redirect and they're not interested in that, it probably means the dog needs a nap. So that's when I put the dog in the kennel, give it a little bit of time in the kennel to relax and do its thing. Now, the kennel, I'd like the guardian to get a little pad with the piping around the side of it. Right now there's a couple towels in there, blankets, which are fine, but I've seen dogs wrap them around their legs and cause some problems. Also, sometimes the dogs don't see toys and stuff that are in there because they're buried. So if you get one a light cream color, put it in there, and then we put his toys or whatever it is. He knows what he has. It's easy for you to see what he has. Also, I do little things because he's in there during the day. Now, his guardian has a dog walker, so he's not in there for longer than 4 hours at a stretch. You shouldn't have your dog in a kennel for longer than 4 hours. It creates tension and anxiety and stress. But what I would do is when we're at home, maybe when I go up to the kitchen, when I go drink water, when I grab a little treat, as I'm walking back, I just toss a treat in the kennel, and then I walk by. Don't point it out. Let him, I smell chicken liver. And he wanders around the house, and his nose leads in there, and he finds it. And then you say the word kennel or whatever the word is to go in there. The more that we do this, or he finds a bully stick. Sometimes I'll take a bully stick and I'll drill a hole in it and put a metal clip and clip it to the back of the kennel. So that way I can chew this bully stick, but only when I'm in the kennel. Or I'll take a marrow bone and I'll drill through the marrow while it's frozen and take a zip tie and zip it. Do these low at the back of the kennel so the dog the only way I can eat this is in the kennel. So good things happen to me in the kennel. Something else I do sometimes is if he doesn't want to go to the kennel at certain times, I might take a bully stick, put it in the kennel, right in the middle of that nice white or cream color deal, and then close the door with him outside of the kennel. So he goes over to the kennel and I want in here, man, let me get that stuff. And you wait and you make him pine and want to get it. Now he's a beagle, so don't wait up too long. He'll probably figure out a way to get the tray out. But then eventually, when it's time for him to go in there, then you go open the door. He runs in there. He wants to go in there with glee, and then you close the door. Sit. And so the more that we do that, we create a positive association. He already likes the kennel. We want to make sure he stays that way. So we don't ever want to use the kennel as a punishment zone. And if we have like kids that come over to visit, if he goes in this kennel, he is safe. He's on base. Nobody's allowed to mess with him when he's in the kennel. I'd also probably get him a dog bed. Right now, he's destroyed dog beds. I think part of it is because he doesn't have any hard chew toys, so I'd like to get some antlers, some real bones. I saw one or two, but you can get a couple other ones. Also get, like I said, more nylabones. Now, most people get nylabones only that look like this cartoon bone that no bone actually looks like. There you go, you get it. They have ones that look like a Tyrannosaurus, one that looks like a fist, one that looks like a donut, a chicken. Just get different colored ones, or not colored, different flavored ones, and different sizes and shapes. It's more stimulating for the dog. And get some antlers as well. Antlers are great. Dogs love them, and they'll gnaw them down. But you know, he has a great assortment of plushies, and he's got some pull toys. But he really only has, I think, I only saw like 2 or 3 hard toys. I guess with the bones 4. But we want to have more of an assortment of those. Let me see. Does he like to play fetch? So fetch is another great way to burn energy. So that might be something we go take him outside. And I have a lot of my clients where I advise them to fetch. Every time the dog comes up and is being a nuisance, the way you should interpret that is, I probably haven't gotten you enough exercise. Let's go outside and play fetch for 4 minutes. Or whatever the length of time is. You'll find that eventually you put in these little practice sessions or fetch sessions throughout the day, and he performs much better, which is why I like doing the exercise journal. Let me see. I would like the guardian to eat in front of the dog. I think I've already mentioned that. I think I'm just about done with all the stuff. Is there anything you can think of that I didn't go over that you want me to refresh?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So if the guardian has any questions, I want her to call or text me. I called her before the session. Make sure that hopefully she programmed the phone number in the phone. If not, just call Adam, but I'd rather you call me directly. The best way is actually me texting me. When I'm in Los Angeles, I sometimes work with 2 or 3 dogs in a day, and fighting traffic, I don't have a chance to return voicemails. But if I get a text, especially with a picture of Jackson, hey, you work with Jax, I had a question about mouthing. Should I do this or this? I'll get back to you right away for that. All right, Jax. Jax. I thought that might get you up here. I need you for my sign off, buddy. Can we come up here? Come on.
You just told me to stay off the furniture.
Jax, you're a fast learner. Jax, sit. This is Jax, and this is his roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.